Guys here okay? Sounds good. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
You got whites okay? Okay, good. Okay, I want to thank everyone out here to Sand Island, to this facility that has been open for a couple years. It is one of the true successes, I think, innovative efforts that could not have occurred without the cooperation and partnership of the state of Hawaii and Governor Ige. This site had nothing on it for years. It's desolate, dusty, dry, full of halikoa and keawe. And a first of a kind initiative was made where we brought shipping containers out, converted them into housing, where people could be safe and secure. And we've been housing folks and transitioning them through a navigation center into permanent supportive housing. It couldn't have happened without the cooperation of Governor Ige and the state of Hawaii. It couldn't have happened without IHS, and where's Connie, and stepping up and helping us do this. And of course, it couldn't happen without the cooperation and effort of the city and county of Honolulu, led by a guy with better white hair than mine, and Mauliola, deputy director of the facility maintenance. You know, he was the one who got out here and got it cleared and did the wrap and helped get the buildings put in place. And it is truly, truly innovative. These are low barrier housing. You can bring your pet. There's no lockout time, meaning you can come and go when you want. Couples can live together. You can lock the door and leave and know your things are going to be secure, and you can come back and unlock your door and sleep safely at night. You get meals, you get fresh towels, you get a great place to use the bathroom, to shower and get cleaned up. This is about giving people hope again. It's about giving people a chance to start their lives again. And this is innovative and different than any other program in the state of Hawaii. And what's really good is under Governor Ige's leadership, working with the land board, the state land board, on May 26th, they renewed the lease out here for another 4 years. We were concerned about whether we'd get this lease renewed. It's now been renewed 4 more years of housing folks and giving them a chance to start their lives again. I want to thank you, Governor, for getting the land board to support this. Thank you so much. We have a great new gray water system out here that can treat sewage, but more importantly, we also have a sewer hookup now. But more importantly, what does that do? It provides new containers for more bathrooms. We have 6 full baths now out here, 1 full ADA compliant bathroom, and 2 half baths, meaning people can come in and take a shower and be clean. This is just so critically important to the success and the lifestyle out in this area. By being hooked up to the sewer, it's very cost effective, meaning we can operate this place with less funds. And Connie, that's good news for you, right? She's always looking for more support, and we want to try to give her all the support we possibly can. We also, I left out, we have a free shuttle here. So folks who live out here can get on this shuttle and get into town to look for jobs, to go to the doctor, to visit, to go to our parks and other things, but be able to come home at night and be safe and clean. The other news that we want to announce is quite a while ago now, we brought in 6 more containers and modified them. We now have 21 additional units for people to live in. That's a total of 104 spaces out here in this area for people to begin their lives again. 104 people to take that next step into permanent supportive housing, which is the goal of this administration. We support permanent supportive housing, not safe zones, not to brush people off to the side, but find them a home to live in, get back to a life again. And this is that interim step to doing it. Now, this administration supports what we call compassionate disruption, meaning we enforce, but we also have the compassion to get people into units like this. And through the hard work of Mark Alexander, who's the executive director of our housing department, through enforcement and him going out himself with a van and asking people to please come and seek shelter, And to come into a navigation center like this one, he's actually gotten 25 people in the last 2 efforts. One, as you know, we enforced in Kaka'ako around Mother Waldron Park, and then in Waikiki. And a total of 25 people have moved in to this place as a result of that enforcement action. So enforcement with compassion does make a difference. Over 600 people have now been served here at the Navigation Center in cooperation with Governor Ige and his administration. 600 so far. Think about how many more will be served in the next 4 years to help people get back on their feet. And I believe we are making a difference. And I believe the point in time count did reflect that downward trend for the first time because of the innovative actions that we've taken. And that's why, folks, I find it disappointing and disturbing that our Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa recently in written statements said a couple of things that I think go diametrically opposed to what we're doing here. Number one, she disagreed that compassionate disruption works. And I think the example that I just gave of 25 folks just recently finding housing shows that it does work. And that if we allow people to live on the streets wherever they want, or in our parks wherever they want, and not follow any laws, that results in what we saw a couple of years ago in Kaka'ako when we saw 300 people gather on Ohe and Olomehane Street, where we saw a spike in crime, where we saw the weak preying on the weaker, where there were sexual assaults, where there are stabbings and robberies, is something that we will not allow. And that we're going to do compassionate disruption, and it does work. Secondly, she says there's no innovation being undertaken. This I consider innovation, working with the governor on something that never occurred before, and then staying the course and even doing more units and having a lease that goes on. But when you look also at the paintball site, Dwayne Kurisu working with Governor Ige in the city to house now 135 folks with a total capacity of 650 by the end of this year, that is innovation, and it does work. So to dismiss these efforts, to me, is disturbing and disappointing. Finally, we just put an RFP out on this 4-H program, where we'll have a hygiene center on Kawili Street. Joy Monahan, who's standing here, pushed this. But working with HMSA and Queens, where the private sector will invest over $8 million in a center that will have a hygiene center on the bottom floor, and then a place where people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol or mentally ill, instead of being taken into an emergency room and then put back out on the streets, will be taken care of in a hospital type setting and then housed in permanent supportive housing afterwards. That is innovation. And it's making a difference in terms of the point in time count and getting people back on their feet. The final thing she said that I found disappointing is she believes safe zones, Ohana zones, are the way to go. Sweeping people into a zone. Now, if one was to be set up in Honolulu, there would have to be rules. The police would need to be there. There'd be rules and regulations. And I question whether the folks that we're dealing with, the most visible chronic homeless folks that we see on our major streets and in our parks, are not going to move in a place where there are rules and regulations. So throwing $30 million at something doesn't mean you're solving the problem. Solving the problem is working in partnership with the state of Hawaii and step-by-step housing people, which I've given examples of. Just a simple $30 million, create a safe zone. People are going to move. They're not going to move unless you allow lawlessness to occur, which is what we had in Kaka'ako, which neither I support nor the Honolulu Police Department supports. We've made a difference. Joey Monahan sit and lie on Kawili Street. Go there any day of the week. It's not how it used to look. Joey Monahan's attempts in Kapalama Canal, and go there today, you don't have the homeless that gathered there before. Thomas Square, when I came in as mayor, was full of homeless. It does not occur anymore. Waikiki, homelessness has really been tamped down. Yes, we have our pockets, but through compassionate disruption and through legislation passed, we have made a difference. But the end game is that we all need to work together, and we are. to come up with innovative solutions to get people housed and back on their feet again. And this navigation center is a good example of it. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Governor Iga to say a few words. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. You know, it is really easy to criticize and talk about what may or may not work. You know, I still remember when we talked about this parcel here, many thought that the challenges that this location presented would be too monumental to overcome. And I just really wanted to let you know that it's a pleasure for the state of Hawaii to extend the lease another 4 years because it's working. And as the mayor said, this is innovative. Most people did not believe, there were many detractors when we first talked about this project here on this location, that for a number of reasons it would never work. And I just really wanted to congratulate Connie Mitchell and IHS for really believing in this location, for being committed to working with the state and county to find a solution that works. And you know, many detractors want to go one-off and do these things. What we have been working together, state, county, federal partners, I know that the U.S. Interagency Council is also here. We have been focused on creating a system that moves people from the street into permanent housing. Anything else is just moving people around, like the detractors like to say. We have been working to ensure that we can get people off the street. As the mayor said, compassionate disruption. We do find that on average, every time we disrupt people, at least a third will decide that, hey, it might be better to move into a facility like this, where they can begin to talk about what life would be like off the streets. You know, it's never 100%, but it means a third less of those on the streets are going to be in a transition center just like this. And we've redone all of the contracts that the state issues so people can understand that they are part of a system, that they're not an isolated cog, that really the objective is to have a series of nonprofits and service providers that will help homeless individuals get to the next step and get to the next step and get to permanent housing, permanent supportive housing, because that's the only way that we can end homelessness in this community. So I'm proud that this is another example of a project that works. And in fact, you know, I was talking to some of you here that this is maybe part of the solution for Hawaii Island as we look at, and we've talking more and more about the lava flow and the eruption and what the housing needs are for that community. We are looking at other opportunities for us to move people from homelessness and into permanent supportive housing. So I really just wanted to thank and congratulate the mayor and council members. I know that we've had many conversations about different things that we can do to move homeless individuals into permanent supportive housing. And I'm glad that this project here at Hale Mauliola will be able to continue for another 4 years, helping us transition hundreds more from homelessness into permanent supportive housing that will really allow us to continue to make progress. You know, statewide, we've had 2 consecutive years for a long, never happened in a long time, of a reduction in homelessness statewide. Mayor, and here on Oahu, we've seen the first reduction in the homelessness count in many years. And we do anticipate that working together, we'll be able to continue the effort and the momentum to reduce homelessness all across the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. You know, working together is the theme. Criticizing doesn't really get to the solution, nor is it leadership. And working together is something we've done with the Honolulu City Council. This project here could not have occurred without the support and funding by the council, who also questioned whether it would work or not, and they took the leap of faith. We have 3 council members here today. We have Councilmember Ikaika Anderson from the windward side. We have Councilwoman Kim Pine from the west side. Both of them have their homeless challenges. we have Joy Monahan, who's a council member for this area where this facility is built. And we'd like to have Joy speak for the council to say a few words, and again, thank him for his efforts and willingness to accept a facility like this. You know, everyone says we want to solve the homeless problem, but not in my district. Most people want to put out in Kalailoa, right, Kim? They want it out where no one can see it. Well, people are not going to move where they don't want to go. And Joy stepped up and said, we will do this in my district as long as it's done well. So, Joy, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, aloha everybody, and good afternoon, as the case may be. You know, 3 years ago, we embarked on this journey to begin this project, Hale Mauliola, and time really flies. You know, renewing the lease of Hale Mauliola really speaks to the success of this navigation center and this program. It's our most innovative program to date, lowering barriers to entering services. And over the years, we've been able to get countless individuals and couples off the streets and into more permanent housing solutions. Hale Mauliola is the offset to doing sweeps in Waikiki, Kaka'ako, and underneath the Nimitz Viaduct. And despite initial pushback from our community, in the early stages, the discussions and meetings, I knew we needed this and that this was going to be a good thing. So I'm grateful to Mayor Caldwell for his leadership and for the Institute of Human Services and Connie Mitchell, who really developed the program and really is responsible for its success on a day-to-day basis. I also wanted to thank Governor Ige and the state for providing this location and for working hand in hand with the City Department of Facilities and Maintenance, our Department of Land Management, with an all-hands-on-deck approach, which is key to solving our housing and our homelessness crisis. And at the end of the day, the rewards are immeasurable when we can provide shelter, safety, and peace of mind for those who need it the most. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
and
Joey.
thank you for being here today.
Okay, and as I always say, if we could clone one person, or if I could clone one person, it'd be Connie Mitchell. I'd create like 25 of them. Because she never says no. She says yes, let's figure out how to make this work. Connie Mitchell, a few words.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Governor, and thank you, City Council, for the confidence that you placed in IHS to just really take this on. Folks, Hale Mauliola means for us the lodge of healing inspiration, and we really try to make that come to pass every day here, which means that we invite people into a healthier space. We're really encouraging them with the staff here. We have staff on site 24/7, and we also have case managers that really connect them with the services, you know, in the community that will really make the difference between them staying here for a long time and moving quickly. We also have a housing specialist like no other, and she really was able to move them into all different kinds of housing. We've placed people in housing in called mainstream housing, getting them connected with senior housing, Section 8. We use the homeless service system to help people get into permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and such. We use everything that we can. Mental health, housing, group homes, foster homes, whatever we can get our hands on. Our housing specialist has also found places on the mainland for people to get into housing, because housing is a little cheaper sometimes on the mainland. So we've even sent some people back through our airline relocation program to family and to other places where they can actually have a stable home. So we really feel like it's been a success in the sense that we meant to be a housing navigation center, and that is exactly what we are. But we're also a community that really supports each other. And for IHS, this is just one of the many specialty shelters we have. Here, couples don't have to be pets. I think it's really important to know that there's not one size fits all in a shelter. Everybody has a different situation, and everybody needs something different. So at IHS, we just try to individualize and tailor the solution for them. So thank you very much, Governor and Council, for just being willing to try different things and to listen to service providers. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam? Come up and say a few words.
Sorry,
no. I'm Woody Oakland, Community Services.
Good afternoon, folks. You've heard from everyone here, from governor to federal to state and city council. The one thing that I want to share is place where those who aren't quite sure whether they know where the right place for them is to get that assistance, to find out what direction and what location can provide them the permanent housing and supportive services they need to get their life back in a good direction. And so we're grateful for all the support we get with the state and IHS and the council and the funding and all of our departments, because this represents the work of multiple agencies across the whole departments, all the city agencies and the mayor's leadership. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Pam. You know, Katie Miller's here, who I've gotten to know very well over the past couple of years. And Interagency Council on Homelessness is someone who's working with those cities who face the greatest challenges, many of them on the West Coast and in Hawaii. And every time I go to Washington, I meet with her or someone from her group, and she's come here many times. And she's here this week to help us regroup and look at new initiatives. One that we're having a meeting today at 1 to talk about what else we can do. And HUD has stepped up. Today I just got a call from HUD where they're saying you're one of 20 cities that have been selected across the nation to actually work with and send experts from HUD, retained by HUD, third-party folks, to provide additional assistance. And we'll take that help from wherever we can get it to continue our trend down on our point-in-time count and house more of our homeless population on the island of Oahu and the state of Hawaii. Kid, I don't know if you want to say anything, but I didn't ask you, but you can say yes or no. Coming up. Thanks,
I appreciate that. I just want to thank the mayor and I want to thank the governor for your leadership, because this takes leadership to do. It's hard work. I also want to thank the partnerships, because without the partnerships in all sectors working together, we can't tackle this crisis. And so we have to continue to create low barrier pathways out of homelessness as quickly as possible. We have a crisis on homelessness and we have to move people quickly to permanent housing. So I appreciate the leadership and the partnerships. That's how we're going to get this work done.
Thank you, Katie. Really appreciate it. We'll open up to questions you may have regarding the navigation center or homeless issues. If there's other issues you want to talk about with me, you can do a step aside. And I would ask everyone who's here to please stay for individual interviews if they want to do any. Okay, so questions? And if you have none, that's fine too. My ball head is getting sunburned. Any questions?
Okay.
Otherwise, thank you so much for covering this. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.